Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of interplanetary I Spy going on here for all you space detectives out there. Now today, I'm going to be looking at some Chemcam images from the Curiosity rover that were taken quite recently. These are the round images that were taken by the Chemcam, which is normally taking photographs of close-up things on the ground like rocks and pebbles and strata, that kind of thing. But occasionally it looks up and zooms right into the background at Mount Sharp here, and we get some really nice, clear, high quality images which haven't been downsized and overcompressed like the mass cam images are. So I've got two sets here. There's this set here which is 2067, so that's a while back now, and the more recent set here is 2495. This was literally like a day or two ago these were published, so links below for all these. Now when you look at on the page, you've got the original ruled product here, which are very pale, and what they've done is they've enhanced it for us already. So you've got these darker ones down here, which are the ones to go for, and they're really quite good quality. They're ping images, not low quality JPEGs, and they're quite large and quite clear. They're a bit blurry around the edges, but what you can do with these is make them into a little mini gigapan or something and stitch them together, and they look pretty good. I'll show you the results of that now. Basically, let's do this one first real quick. I did a quick gigapan of these to stitch them together. There's about 9 images or something, and they sort of overlap in an odd way, but you can see the main part of the image here. And what interested me about this was not only this very straight kind of wall here, just here. This is completely raw, I haven't enhanced this. There's a sort of straight wall there, which is kind of interesting. But then I looked at this rather weird formation here, which seems to have a pipe on top of it. Now I don't know what this is. So some of you keen-eyed space detectives out there may have an idea what this could be. It looks like it's been melted and like some kind of wreckage or something. I don't know what it is. So I'll show you some clips of that. I'll show you the raw clips first, and then we'll go to the enhancements. Raw clip. You can see this kind of boat-shaped object here. This kind of buried, and it's got this weird kind of crushed, what looks to me like some kind of melted or crushed metal object with a pipe coming over the top here. You can see that pipe coming round. It joins there and it goes up and over, and in fact it goes to here, further back. I've brightened it up a bit there. You can see it a bit better now. I mean, this isn't that clear until you look at it in negative and you can really see that pipe. Now, if this was just an everyday rock or formation, would it have piping sticking out of it? I don't think it would. I've actually done a highlighted version of that. This is closer. Now this has been sharpened a bit and enlarged obviously and brightened up a bit, but really not a lot. You don't actually need to enhance these a great deal, these images. These are quite good. But there seems to be like a row of teeth here. I'm not saying they are teeth. You can see a teeth detail here. Zoom in a bit. This pipe comes, the pipe starts here where my little hand cursor is, and comes over, down to here, and there's like a join, and then a bit goes around the back, and then there's another kind of bit coming off here, and there's these weird details in here like piping and sort of weird structures in this thing, whatever it is. So I have no idea what it is. Initially I thought it was a boat because it's kind of boat shaped overall, but perhaps it's part of some sort of wreckage. Now this is on top of a mound, and some of these mounds are artificial. Now here I've highlighted it for you just to make it stand out. That's the pipe, but in fact it goes over the top here. You can see that shadow carries on and it goes over to here. So what is this thing? And this has got a kind of reflective kind of part to it here that goes, this kind of curved part, and it almost looks like an upturned boat or something like that, but it could be almost anything. Really don't know. But the pipe was what interested me. That's why I highlighted it here. Let's go in a bit closer. You can see that you can see the join there. It comes down and there's a join and there's a part that goes round behind. Very odd indeed. So, don't know what that is. Answers on the postcard. I'll put clips of all these, as always, in at the end of the video, like I always do. Now, there's another set of Chemcam images. Let's have a quick look at that negative again, just to, yeah. I mean, that's pretty clear. It stands out better like that. You can actually see it really clearly. Very odd indeed. Don't know what it is. Could be a boat. Could be some kind of wrecked bit of machinery. It could be some kind of building that's been blasted away, and there's some kind of plumbing left behind, or some kind of structure left behind after it was destroyed. I don't know. So answers on the postcard with that one. And there's this other set of images. Now this was weird. Now if I show you the page it comes from, this is the one I just showed you, 2495. Now let's go to this one, which is 2067, Sol 2067. Now I always get suspicious when the rover takes multiple images of the same thing over and over again. Now this is probably done because they do this thing called Z stacking, where what they can do is just take loads of images and then stack them on top of each other to get a higher definition or better picture. Because what happens is you get certain parts of the image that are out of focus. But if you take loads of images of the same thing, then you can kind of overlap them. How many of them are there? There's about 12 or something. There's more than 12 actually. There's 12, 16, 18 of them. Why would they take 18 shots of exactly the same place on the surface? Let's look at the first one. Very strange. So that was a bit of a red flag to me. Now what we've got here is a ridge line. Now some of this is a bit out of focus up here at the top, and the focal area is generally in the middle of these round Chemcam images. So the information around the edges isn't very good at all. It's very blurry, but the stuff in the middle is pretty good. So let me show you that. You can see Mount Sharp in the background there. This is a ridge in front of Mount Sharp, one of these big mounds, like I showed you on the previous image. And you've got all these kind of rocks here in the middle, which are kind of falling down this ridge line. Some of them are quite small, and there's some quite large rocks here. It's kind of like almost like a cliff edge, really. And you've got sort of lots of loose debris and weird stuff. And then I spotted this thing here, and I thought, just here, let's get it in the middle. I thought, that's weird. This looks like a head with an arm and something like a gun or something there, and a body. Very strange. I thought, why would something like that be on a ridgeline like this? Now, of course, a lot of you may know already, I've found many, many statues and specimens in this area, about 200 altogether, possibly more now. So you've got to keep an open mind when it comes to these things, and bearing in mind that you have finds also, like one here, found by Lanny Gabor. This was a little mummified person with pins in its leg here. 1, 2, 3. You can see the pins going through the leg. Deformed, broken leg here, arm sticking out, very strange, long, thin arm, holding something, or a thumb coming out and a finger or something. So I know this is less than a foot long, but it's between about sort of 9 and 12 inches. So when you have the things like this on the surface, mummified people, which have been petrified and mummified, then you've got to be open-minded about what other things you may find, because that basically means that this area was inhabited, as Mars was. I can't tell you whether it is now, but there's lots of petrified and interesting mummified remains like this here. This was found by Terry Burnett. And Terry Burnett, sorry, let's pronounce it right. Amazing, amazing mummified people on the surface. Loads of these. I've found some, lots of other people are finding them as well, as I've just shown. So you've got to keep an open mind when it comes to these things. And let me show you the stages I went through to enhance this thing. Let's go to this one first, because here it is. There's a close-up of it. Now, all I've done here is enlarge it. I haven't enhanced this in any way at all. It's completely raw. But you can see, well, there's like a head here, an arm with a finger sticking out there, and what looks like a kind of weapon there. And you've got a torso coming down here, and possibly 2 legs or something. This doesn't quite make sense to me. Now, this doesn't look like a mummified person to me at all, because the details are rather stylized and weird. Now let me show you the enhancements I've got. I'll show you a close-up of it. There we are. Now what I've done here is I've highlighted round it, selected round it, and then colorized it to make this part of it stand out against the grey background. Okay, just have a look at that for a minute. Look at these details. Finger, hand, small thin arm, shoulder here, helmet, eyes, nose, mouth, what seems to be some kind of object like a staff or weapon of some sort. I don't really know what that is. To me it looks a bit like a rifle. And then we have details in here as well. Now there is a close-up of just re-enhanced. I think it's this one here. This is the latest one. It's a bit brighter. I've gone in a bit closer, obviously enlarged it. But you can see these things in there, and there are some intricate details here, like a belt or some kind of ammo belt or something around the centre of the torso, around the torso here. And whether these are legs down here, I think they are, but it's very odd. It's almost like the legs are kind of fused together. It's like it's melted or something. It's very strange. I can't really work out exactly what's going on here. And let me show you the raw clip where I got that from first. Now, you can see that, now I've shown you that, you can see what I'm talking about in the raw image. We've got this thing here, comes down to here. Now I don't think it is actually joined to this bit here, as I just showed you. I think it probably only comes to here. So this looks like a sort of plasma rifle, or something like that. And you can even see in this raw image, if you look really carefully, follow my cursor, we've got the rifle here, we've got the head here at the top, and the arm. Now look at the arm. From the shoulder, we go down the arm, elbow just here, wrist, hand, and finger. And the finger, if we go in, is actually attached through this object. It's going into it. See that shadow there? It's going into this trigger mechanism, it seems. Holding this, what seems to be shaped like a rifle. Now, I could be misinterpreting this, but that's what I'm seeing. And it's very, very interesting, these details. Now, it does look a bit fuzzy, looks a bit sort of soft focus. So you really need to see the enhancements to actually see it better. And I've got one here where I haven't highlighted the whole thing, but this is a real basic highlight I've done here. And you can see that thing there, I've actually sharpened it so you can see the finger a bit more, and it actually goes into this thing here. Okay, now I've done a couple of versions of this because I wasn't quite happy with that. I've done a couple of versions because the finger detail, I think I over sharpened it. In fact, if you look at the raw image, you can see the finger stops just there, right where my cursor is. There's the shadow, and it goes into that mechanism. Very interesting indeed. So I'm not really sure what to make of this, and there seems to be something down below it here, like a leg or something, or a boot or something. Who knows? But that may just be a rock that's shaped that. I don't know. But this may actually come right down to here, but I couldn't really work out what was going on there. Let's look at the raw image again, the raw clip, because this is a bit larger. You can see more around it. Very strange. You can see that finger just there, and the hand and the arm and the shoulder there. And much like that little mummified person with the broken legs that I showed you a minute ago, this is tiny. Well, when I say tiny, it's about a foot long, thereabouts. This may be a bit bigger than that. This may be about 1.5 feet, possibly even 2 feet. I couldn't tell you exactly, but it's not that large. But we don't really have a scale reference for this. And when you look at the ridge line, this is 1 to 2 feet, I would say. It's really hard to say exactly. But like a lot of these things on Mars, they're quite small. There he is. And you can even see that. Once you know it's there, you can see the gun shape there, or staff, or whatever it is. You can see that finger just there, and the hand and the arm. Even in the raw image, I'm not adding these details, I'm only making them brighter for you to show on YouTube. Because often when you upload videos to YouTube, they get sort of downgraded a bit and you lose a bit of definition. So you have to add contrast to these images to make them make the shadows kind of pop a bit and make the details stand out. So that was it for that, really. I'll put clips of those in again at the end. I've got some smaller kind of enhancements here which may look a bit better, but yeah, there we are. You can see it pretty well. But these are not new finds. Well, this one particularly is not a new find. It's from a while back anyway. But I was reluctant to publish it because I get a lot of stick for pareidolia from people, and I've actually written this little thing here. If there is no pareidolia, then the museums would be empty of artifacts and mummies, etc., as they would never have been spotted by anyone. Perhaps all archaeologists have pareidolia. And also this other thing I came up with here, CSDM, culture shock denial mechanism. These things are shaped like they are and not an illusion, for the most part at least. The pareidolia word is only used against Mars and Moon researchers and never Earth-based archaeologists. A culture shock denial mechanism perpetuated by the corporate media in an attempt to diffuse interest in our near planetary neighbours that were inhabited. So whilst everyone is accusing each other of the dreaded pareidolia, get your teeth in, I shall just carry on cataloguing all these fascinating Mars specimens, objects and art pieces and leave the skeptics behind whilst I break the matrix of BS from the media and scientific establishment who have been bullshitting us for decades about our near planets as well as cultures on Earth. Okay? I thought I'd put that in there. I wrote that a while ago and haven't really used it, I don't think, in a video, so I thought that was a way of getting across what's going on here for those of you who are not familiar with this channel. So that was that, really. So, I mean, there's loads of these things. I could go on for hours about this. I'll show you a couple of things for those that are new to the channel that may not have seen some of these things. There's this thing here, which looks very much like a mobile phone or something similar, spotted by Io Lawrence in 2018. Very strange. But this actually may be a piece of art with a kind of picture on it that's been painted on. But it does seem to have buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4 there. Very strange. And even in the raw image, that is not just a normal rock. Even if it's not a mobile phone and or a piece of art that's broken, it could be part of a mosaic or something, a mosaic floor or wall that's been painted and broken off or something like that. Who's to know? There's loads of weird things like this. And as for that thing I showed you earlier, I mean, this is one of the most incredible finds ever by Lany here. Absolutely incredible. The chain around the torso. The chain, you can, in the raw image, you can see a chain going around it here, and it goes under this arm here. There's also what seems to be a person next to it as well. I am going to do a part 2 to the video I did on this find coming up soon, and I'm going to go over the whole image a bit more carefully and brighten it right up a bit more, you know. So there's loads of weird things in the area, and not only that, I mean, Mars was inhabited, and there is all these millions of metallic sort of dome-shaped structures near the North Pole. If you go on Google Earth and then click Mars on the planet icon and look up to the northern hemisphere of Mars, you'll find millions of these all over the place. And some are very metallic looking and look like probably metallic dome houses or something. And these are something in the region of 300 to 400 feet across. And they're nearly all identical in size. Some of them have got sand drifted up against them. So there was, and probably still is, something going on up there that we haven't been told about. This is the big secret. But of course, if people like Elon Musk, for instance, want to go there, they're not going to be telling us that it was inhabited, because basically, if they do that, then they would come under, they would get into trouble for invading a planet that's already got life on it, because there are contamination issues. And the United Nations have written special laws to prevent us from contaminating alien life, okay? So they'd be breaking the rules if they admitted there was any life there, which is why they only say, oh, there may have been microbes at some point and we haven't quite found any, and we don't really know where the methane's coming from. And then we have nutters like this guy, Elon Musk, who wants to actually nuke Mars to warm it up. Now, he was on about this a couple of years ago and hasn't mentioned it for a while, but he's brought it back up again. This guy's a megalomaniac, an absolute. He's a very clever man. I'm not going to dispute that. But why would you want to nuke Mars when there's possible life still there? Because he wants to go there and rob the place. Okay, that's what I think. He wants to go there and rob it blind. As I said in this video here, how long before Mars gets robbed? Art thieves, ArtAlienTV. Check this out if you haven't seen that already. That goes into the sort of politics and some of the treaties that have been written about other planets and the moon and Mars and everything else, and the space treaties that were written in the 1950s and 60s and stuff before we went to the moon or anything. So check that out if you want to see more on that. Go to ArtAlienTV Mars magazine if you want to see that article, or you could just Google it. It's a Daily Mail article, I think it is. Elon Musk. I mean, he's in the press constantly, this guy. The evil genius. Well, perhaps he's not evil. Perhaps he's just stoned. Like he was on the Joe Rogan show. He may be. Interesting guy either way, whether you hate him or not, you know. I don't hate him. I just think he's a bit delusional and a bit probably stoned. Okay? So that was that. Clips coming up now.